Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. It's been a while since I've done some movie reviews, so I'm going to be talking about three recent movies I saw in the theater. Obviously, I think you enjoy movies more in the movie theater with the big screen and the great sound. So sometimes you see movies in the theater that you like a lot that maybe if you saw them at home, they wouldn't be as good. I think that's something that I always take into consideration. But let's talk about three movies I've seen recently. Bear with me with this high-tech background that just fell off. But let's start with the first one, Babylon. Now, Babylon, and I try to print out what the poster looked like. There's Babylon, starring Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. And it also, they're the stars of it. I thought it was a really good movie. It's an epic. It's meant to be seen in the theater. I mean, it cost something like close to $80 million to make it. I think it was a bit of a bomb from what I understand. But I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I saw it on TV. It's definitely meant to be seen on the big screen. I thought it was pretty cool. My wife also loved it, really liked it, I should say. It takes place in Hollywood around the 1920s. Now, I actually thought it was kind of interesting because, I don't know about you, when I see like old movies like from the 20s and the 30s, everything's black and white. And I tend to think that back then the world was black and white and very prudish, and people didn't have sex and drugs and alcohol, and it was a very stiff lifestyle. And then you start to think, oh, wait a second, it was called the Roaring Twenties, right? And then the 30s were wild, and then the 40s had the war. These people were crazy. So this movie takes place in Hollywood in the 20s, in the silent era. And it's really, really interesting because obviously the movie is in color, and now you see how these people were. They were absolutely insane. The movie opens up, it focuses on three people. Brad Pitt, which is like, he's like the biggest silent movie star, basically. A guy named Manny, who's this hardworking guy. And the movie opens up pretty much, if I remember right, he's trying to get an elephant to a Hollywood party because the Hollywood party is like crazy. And then Margot Robbie, who I never heard of, by the way. Apparently she was Tonya Harding in a movie, Tonya Harding, but oh my God, she is unbelievable in this movie. Hot. She's got superstar ringing all over it. And that's what she plays, this young, hot girl from like New Jersey who's out there trying to become a star because she knows she's got star quality. And boy, does she. She crashes the party with Manny, who's getting the elephant in there. And it's a party like you've never seen. Sex, nudity, drugs, everything that's going on. There's a young Hollywood starlet dies, has a drug overdose because she's getting peed on by some Hollywood executive. And you start thinking, wow, they really were crazy even back in the 20s. And then it follows their three stories. Brad Pitt, the biggest star in the silent age, but now it follows their career as talkies come in and sound, and the motion picture industry is going to change. And Margot Robbie becomes this huge star, but can she maintain being a huge star like Brad Pitt? And then you got Manny, who is this hardworking guy who just dreamed of being successful in Hollywood, becomes really successful later on as a director. And can they maintain this success? And what happens with the three of them and their intertwining stories? And it's really interesting. It's got great music, great jazz. It covers sex, drugs, wildness, gambling, suicide, gangsters, the whole thing. And not to give anything away, but it's got a great ending as well, as what people who know me call an Alan Rosenberg ending. I can't stand what I call bullshit Hollywood endings. Well, this movie does not have a bullshit Hollywood ending for any of them. So it's a really good ride, and I really enjoyed it. Directed by, what was that guy's name? Damien Chazelle, I think it was, who did Whiplash, which was a great movie. He went all out. Big budgeted movie. Unfortunately, I guess it didn't do too well. I guess maybe if you're interested, you'll see it on TV. I don't think it will have nearly the same effect on TV, but I was pleasantly surprised because it got mixed reviews. I thought it was really good. Next up I saw was M3GAN. That starred Allison Williams, who was really good in that movie Get Out. And a girl named Violet McGraw, who I don't know. She plays a young child You've seen this kind of science fiction horror movie before. It's been going on for decades. The more technology comes in, the smarter it comes. You run the risk that it's going to become smarter and more powerful than human beings. There's tons of movies like this. I like the premise of this. M3GAN is a doll, an android, a robot who is designed by, it turns out Allison plays the girl's aunt, and she's a single woman, never had a kid, and for a reason she has to start caring for this girl, and she decides to continue working on this project she's working on, which is M3GAN, this android doll, which will be the ultimate toy, because she can't really handle the girl, and M3GAN will take control of caring for the girl as well as become this huge success, the biggest toy ever made, because every kid's going to want a best friend that's an android that loves you and takes care of you. And of course, what happens is, with not giving any spoilers away, M3GAN becomes pretty powerful and starts having super intelligence and starts caring for these people so much that if anybody is a threat, well, bad things can happen. And that's the plot of M3GAN, not giving anything away. You've seen this before, but it's well done. It was a Blumhouse movie. The thing that I have with Blumhouse is that I feel like they just never go all the way. They just, it's geared towards younger people. So, for me and the people I went with, none of us were scared. You kind of saw what was going to happen. And it's a fun ride. It's fine. It's a big production. It's well done in every way, but certainly wasn't scary, and was just okay. So I would say M3GAN was like, if 5 stars is 5 stars is a classic and 1 star is worthless, I'd give it a 3. If you watch it on TV, which is probably what you'll see, you'll enjoy it. It's okay. Last but not least is this one, Skinamarink. So this is a movie that we just went to see. Went with my son. There was 5 people in the theater, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So we went to see this movie. It's a Canadian movie. Apparently, it cost $15,000 to make. It looks like it. It's about the lowest budget movie I've ever seen, but that doesn't make it bad. It's getting great publicity. They're trying to take the page from Blair Witch Project, and create all this publicity, the scariest movie ever made. Well, when I heard that, I had to go see it because I like to see every horror movie, or most of them. Scariest horror movie, I'm there. So it's an interesting movie in the sense that it's very open. I'm not worried about giving you a spoiler because I don't know what the hell this movie was about. Nor did my son, nor did the other 3 people in the theater. It's totally open to interpretation so much that I found it really frustrating. I get it when movies leave endings open, but this whole movie is open. I have my own theory. I have 2 theories, and I don't know if any of them are correct. But if you haven't heard, basically 2 kids wake up in their house. The doors are gone. The windows are gone. Actually, it was really cheesy, I thought. I know it's only made for $15,000, but it reminded me of Star Trek. A weird scene comes up, and the door appears and then disappears, and the window appears and then disappears, and a toilet disappears and appears, and with that Star Trek kind of goofy sound. I get it. It's like an alternate reality. Where are they? I don't really know. There's a plot point that the kid Kevin, it's basically Kevin is the boy and his sister is Kaylee, and they wake up in the house. Dad is not there. Mom apparently has gone missing. I don't know, no explanation where she has been, but Dad's missing, and they're in this house. They're in their house, and what they do, they go downstairs and they put on the TV, and the whole movie is like 90 minutes of hearing a cartoon, a public domain cartoon playing over and over again. It's really goddamn annoying. The movie's shot that you don't really see anything. You don't even see the kids. You see their legs. It's shot. You see the top of a door. All of a sudden, there's the ceiling, and there's a chair up there, or there's a doll on the ceiling or on the wall. At one point, Kevin is on the ceiling. I don't know. Don't know. Is it my theory that, either Kevin is deceased because there's a story that he fell down the steps, or maybe Dad pushed him down the steps? I don't know. I still don't know. Really frustrating. there's a big scene where there's this ghostly demonic voice upstairs that says, come upstairs, and one of the kids goes upstairs, look under the bed, and they look under the bed, and really nothing happens, and then I think it's the mom appears for a second, and then she's gone, and the kid goes back downstairs. I don't know. You see Legos forever and a VHS tape, and it's just the slowest, most low-budget movie I've ever seen. What was really frustrating is this publicity, and I've heard this before, scariest movie ever made. Can you please stop that? Really. If you're going to say that, then deliver. Now, some people are going to like this movie. I don't know why. But okay, everything's personal choice. I hated this movie. My son hated it. In fact, I would actually say this is possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was so bad in every way. My son felt the same way, and I will tell you that the three other people in the theater, two of them were fairly young girls, and they scare easily, they said. They were not frightened for a second. They hated it. And then there was a gentleman at the theater as well by himself. He says that he went to see because it was supposed to be the scariest movie ever made. He despised it, thought it was the biggest waste of time, and felt like we did. If 10 is the scariest and 1 is not scary, this is a 0. Bambi outscares this movie. This movie had no jolts, no frightening. I get it. It's surrealistic. You're not sure what happens. I saw Eraserhead back in the 70s. Okay, I can understand it, but there's ways of doing this. If this is Kevin and the kid deceased in like this netherland between death and living, well, it's been done before. Jacob's Ladder, the original, is a great movie that focused on that. You want a really low-budget black and white movie that covers that ground really well, that's spooky without any kind of big effects. Carnival of Souls, the original Carnival of Souls, did it really well. This movie did not. So here's my advice. Don't buy the hype. It's not scary at all. It's completely confusing. It's completely up in the air. The director even says he's not sure what it's about. I don't know. Hated it. Worst movie possibly I've ever seen. In fact, you ever hear that movie, The Room? That is supposed to be the worst movie ever made. They wrote a book about it. They made a documentary about it. The Room is an Oscar winner compared to this movie. So there you go. My 2 cents. But what the hell? If you liked it, tell me why. Because maybe all 5 of us in that theater, we all discussed it afterwards. And we were like, God, that was god-awful. Maybe we're missing something. But I don't think so. Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in. Something different. Normally I focus on classic rock, but what the hell? Every once in a while I'll do a movie review. This high-budget Babylon. Definitely worth seeing. I think it's not going to be nearly as good on TV as it was in the movies, but it's interesting. It's a bit long. M3GAN is okay. Typical kind of Blumhouse horror movie for younger people, but it delivered, and it was well done. Skinamarink, quite possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. In fact, I would say it definitely was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, and my son agreed, as did 3 other people. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, I will see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show. Go back to classic rock, the next shot. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.